Here is an embroidered towel that traveled all the way and returned, and of course, an icon.
Carrying just a few precious items, a photograph, embroidered towels and a religious icon, Oleksy Petriv's family were expelled from their village home in Lviv region in 1947 and forced to resettle across the Soviet Union, some to Siberia and others to the Donbass. These few treasures serve as a reminder of how Ukrainians suffered at the hands of war, politics and ideology.
The hardest of all was to acclimatize, to restore people from Carpathians, from that climate to Siberia, to completely different conditions. Many of them died. It was much easier for those who were resettled to the south and east of Ukraine, but it was still hard.
The exhibition at the National Museum of Ukraine's History in World War II is symbolically called Torn Out from the Roots. It shines a spotlight on the forced resettlement of over 1 million Ukrainians between 1944 and 1951. The so-called Soviet-Ukraine-Polish exchange was the most ambitious operation.
This is the central street. Next to it are the names of families who were expelled.
Museum researcher Alexander Belus brought this map. It shows the Polish village of Steżnica. More than 1,000 people were evicted, who eventually resettled in 18 countries. A local resident recreated the village's housing layout according to historical documents. Each one features the family names.
This village was resettled completely because the ones living there were ethnic Ukrainians, Lemkos. In 1944, there were around 1,000 people. After the resettlement, around 5-6 families were left there by miracle.
The grandfather of Ivan Patrilak, also called Ivan, dreamed of returning home for more than 40 years. He was transferred from Poland to a completely empty house in Ukraine.
At first, they walked to the railway station. They lived there for months. Then they spent another month on the road to the Ternopil region. There, they settled into their new homes. Their properties in Poland had been taken away. They were given 4 hectares of land and an unfinished house. One room was done, and the other was not.
People were forcibly resettled in several stages. At the beginning, it was voluntary. Then the authorities started surrounding settlements and taking people away against their will. Many only had enough time to collect a few documents and personal items. At the exhibition, one piece stands out: a wheel from a wagon used to transport things.
Nobody cared about people. They just needed to draw the border between the countries. There were 1,400 people living in the Lyskovaty village. In a few days, they were relocated to 3 settlements in the Dnipropetrovsk region.
Hundreds of villages just disappeared from the maps of Ukraine. Not only because of the population exchange with Poland, the Soviet regime also moved people because of their support for the Ukrainian insurgent army and for not complying with collectivization. Such projects aim not only to unite Ukrainians and remember those who defended their land, but also to lift the lid on history, which for so long has been hidden. Reported by Yulia Borzko, UATV.